All right, Tony, let's talk about the stance. You know, some people have an open stance, closed stance, back here, off balance, you name it. Let's talk about some of the basic things you feel like you have to have that are essential to be a good hitter.
I think you touched on a lot of it. I'm a big believer in whatever kind of stance you have, whether it's an open stance or a closed stance, if you're in the front of the box, the back of the box. The only thing that I really talk about a lot is being balanced, being in a balanced position.
Okay,
so
let me ask you a simple question. How do you get to balance then?
Well,
How do you get to that point?
To me, it's an individual thing. I was a guy who split the plate. And when I got in my stance, I felt like the weight was right in the center.
Okay, so you get the balance thing down, whether I'm open stance or closed stance or whatever, do you believe that you got to eventually get to that same point?
Yes. When I set this foot down, now I'm in a position, if you're balanced, where you can take your bottom hand and take the swing. If you see any of your head or your upper body going forward over that front leg, that's not good. Period. It's not good. Yes, you might look up and flip a ball the opposite field and get a base hit, but more times than not, when you get to the batter's box and you get over that front leg, you're gonna make outs.
It's not good. Why?
It's not good because now, when you get over this front leg, now you've basically eliminated one half of the field. Because now your bottom hand cannot work if you get over your front leg. The only hand that can work is your top hand. And if you use your top hand, that's great if you can get to this position every time and hit a baseball. But in baseball, this doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes you've got to hit a ball back here. Sometimes you got to hit a ball out in front. And if you get over that front leg and you get past that position right there, then your top hand's going to take over and you've only got one place to hit the ball. If you're a left-handed hitter, that's the pull side. That's the right side of the field. If you're a right-handed hitter, that's the pull side. That's shortstop, third base. And so this front foot is really your foot that's going to stop your weight from going forward. Yes, you want to eat up some ground going forward. Yes, you want to go this way. But when it hits the ground, all of this has got to stop. And when it does stop, now you're in a position where you can take that kind of swing that you want to take and generate bat speed.
And that all comes from balance.
Right.
What about your head and your hands? How do those work in reference to balance?
Well,
and the swing?
Really, all this balance, being in a balanced position, being able to take your hands back and set your foot down, that's just so you can generate some bat speed coming forward. Because if you don't, if they just sit here, you're not going to be able to generate that much. But if you take them back and set them down, now you're in a position where you can generate the most bat speed that you can going forward.
So where should you start your hands at then to get them to go back?
You know what? That's, to me, that's a hitter preference thing too. Because, you look in the big leagues today and you see guys starting with their hands down here. You see guys with their hands up high. You look at Barry Bonds' hit. This man controls the inside part of the plate better than anybody I've ever seen. And when you watch him hit, he's choking up on the bat a little bit, but what he does better than anybody else is he gets here better than anybody else. Those hands go back, he sets that foot down, and then it's just straight through the zone with tremendous bat speed. But you only get that kind of bat speed if you're in a balanced position and your hands go back. They go back to what we call the hitting position.
Now, what about your head?
Head.
How important is the head? Some people teach, you got to leave your head down there and all these other techniques, but what did you feel?
Well, I'm a big believer in is the stillest you can keep your head, the better hitter you're going to be. We use a phrase in hitting the baseball, keeping your head behind the baseball. And what that means is wherever the contact is, wherever you make contact, whether you're hitting the ball to left field, center field, or right field, that if your head could stay behind the baseball, you're going to be able to generate a lot better bat speed. But you can't do it if your head moves.